Hello. Can you see me? Can you confirm? Okay, cool. Hello, everybody. I'm trying to log in to see the chat here. How is it going? All good? Great. Okay, we're connected. Okay, well, hi everybody. This is going to be a new Hummingbot live stream, where we are going to cover some of the new stuff that was added to Hummingbot. Is a dynamic orderbook initialization. This is like something for me really good for Hummingbot, because before the system just was run only for running a simple strategy and then being stopped. And it's like, if you want to run another strategy, or if you want to add another market to the runtime, it was not possible, mostly for a connector. Why? Because the architecture of Hummingbot was initializing the order books and trades from the markets that are defined at the startup in the init. So it's like, you create an exchange instance with the trading pairs that you want, and the exchange was going to load those pairs, load the order books, load the trades and everything about only those pairs. So the change that was applied, this is, wait for Hummingbot, let me go here. I'm currently doing some changes to Hummingbot, so maybe we will need to stash them. But well, basically the change that was introduced is that now we have this method that is add trading pair. So when we have an exchange object that has a list of trading pairs, we can add a trading pair to start trading on it. What will this do? We'll create the subscription to the order book, and well, send the subscription message via WebSocket to start receiving the order books and the trades of that specific market. And if it's a perpetual exchange, it will also subscribe to the funding info. So this gives us more flexibility. I'm currently working on a design to make this even more on demand. Like, what I think that a trading system should have is like a simple way to start getting data from a source. And the sources that we have are order books, trades, funding info, let's say, I don't know, candles. These are the main data sources that we have. So as simple we can do the interface for any developer or user to start getting that information, the better. So currently, this change provides that, like, dynamic initialization of certain pairs. How it's done in the background, you don't care, but it's initializing the order book and well. What I created that you can use is this dynamic order book demo that is a strategy v2. The strategy v2, well, just to let you know, we are also going to unify this month, like, well, probably the next month. We are going to merge what is a script strategy base and what is a strategy v2, because the real difference is that the strategy v2 is like the script, but it has a config base to use and can also run controllers. So it has a few differences, but one contains the other. So you can still create a strategy v2 with the same style as the script. So this February we're going to merge them and revamp all the docs to make this simpler, because we heard your feedback and you tell us that it was kind of difficult to run the different things that we have. So we're going to unify everything in just one interface, and probably where you're going to be coding the most is going to be controllers from now on. So I think that will be really, really simple for you to migrate directly to that. So well, let's review this strategy v2. This is a config that has what we're going to do with this script. Is just for demonstration purposes. Is we're going to initialize a market like Binance paper trade. That is a market that is for paper trading. We don't really need an account. Like, we don't really need API keys to connect to this exchange. That's why we're going to use Binance paper trade. And what we're going to do is to initialize a different exchange. For example, we can initialize Binance Perpetual, or we can initialize OKX Perpetual or OKX Spot, or whatever we want. And the idea is that even if we don't have API keys of that exchange, we can initialize the order book of a market that we want, and then after a certain time stop it. So that will be the goal for this session, what we're going to do. And then, as an extra gift for you, I'm going to show you what I'm building in Hummingbot API, that I think that over time we're going to make that repo more and more important. For some of the strategies that you might want to run, it's going to be much more simpler to run or create those strategies using just the API in a single plain Python file, than writing a Hummingbot strategy. So then today I'm going to show you how you can use the new executors router to create executors directly with the Hummingbot API instance working, and just using Claude to create the grid, for example. So let's get started. Let's get started first with understanding this script. Let me know if you have any questions about the script, but we're going to talk about like original Hummingbot code. So this is going to be fun. So the configs, they have this stuff, script file name. This is necessary because just points to the file system where you have the bot, and use this name. This in order to run it, so just assume this as normal. Then we're going to need markets that we're going to initialize Binance paper trade with BTC USDT, only this. Candles config is going to be empty, we are not going to use candles. Controller config is going to be empty, we are not going to use controllers. We need to re-implement this because here is not like optional. You need to pass it, and here we are actually putting this as the default that is. Basically, this is something that probably I will remove the candles config from the v2 base, because we have methods to initialize candles, and in the most of the strategies on controllers, we are initializing the candles like in a dynamic way, like we are not setting up in the config. So this will probably be removed, and this is going to be also like by default an empty list. What is important for us is the order book exchange. What's the exchange that we would like to get the candles from? In this case, the default is Binance Perpetual. What trading pairs we will add to start getting the order book? Sol USDT and ETH USDT. We're going to also remove the two markets after a certain time to stop tracking those order books. The add pairs delay is like I will initialize Sol after 10 seconds from startup, and then after 10 seconds more we will initialize ETH, or maybe this is going to add the two pairs at the same time. Yeah, after 10 seconds. After 10 seconds we will add the two of them at the same time, I think. Then we will review the code, but yeah, I think so. And then it will remove the pairs after 25 seconds. This is how much depth we want to get from the order book. and the histogram breaching BPS and the charge height, because we call it a small format status to show this. So, well, then here's some pedantic validators that we don't care. And this is like the actual strategy. So the first thing that we need to do is to set up these markets. That probably with this method is enough. But this is why I think that the controllers are like much more better than the scripts, because it's everything defined. But I think that this method is enough to... This method should be like enough. Like there is a lot of duplication to make it compatible with the scripts, because the script strategy base needs this. So well, the next week when I start working on this refactor, it will be much more simpler. Then in the init, setting up some basic values to then iterate through the started and stopped things. Then well, the order book started, whatever, and we are setting up the timestamp. This is like when we are setting up the timestamp to calculate after 10 seconds to initialize the next order books and then to stop them. So we are setting up in the start this timestamp. Then the create actions proposal and stop actions proposal are going to be an empty list. This is going to be like an empty list. Then we have the onTick method that basically calls the base onTick that is in the scripts, the strategy 2 base, that basically updates executor info, update the controller configs. This is like a general process that the strategy v2 does. And then is getting the executor actions and executing the actions. And the executor actions has the create, stop, and store actions. So here we are just passing an empty list saying there are no actions that we're going to perform. This is only to visualize data. And then we have the onTick method. Well, sorry, this is what I was explaining. If there is no start timestamp, we set the timestamp. Then we get the elapsed time between the start time and the current timestamp. If it's bigger than the add pairs delay, it will add the pairs. This is adding to a set only for keeping track what pairs we already initialized, because if we already initialized it, we don't want to initialize it again. So this part, what it does is verifies that if we initialize a market already, we are not going to initialize it again. And the task that we create is add trading pair, that this tag is here. Basically, with the market data provider, we can just say initialize order book of this exchange and this trading pair. The good thing about this pattern is that, first of all, we don't need to access the specific exchange instance to say, I want to initialize this order book from you. And if the exchange is not part of the exchanges that we initialized at the beginning, like for example, when you define the markets, you know that then you can access to the exchanges through self.connectors, and then you put the name of the exchange, and that gives you the class, right? That's from getting the exchange class. If you don't have API keys and you didn't specify that on the startup, if you want to use KuCoin and you didn't initialize it, you will never find it. So the market data provider, what it does when we initialize the order book is, first of all, tries to get a connector that is initialized already with credentials. For example, if there are available credentials of Binance and is connected, it will get that connector, and we are going to add the order book to that connector. And if the exchange is not initialized, the market data provider will say, okay, there is no active exchange that I can use. So what I will do is I will initialize a new connector in the mode of non-trading connector. That mode does not initialize the trading part of the connector, only initializes like the market data part. So the design is kind of tricky or kind of complex, and for doing these things, that's why I like thinking in a refactor of making like the data source is much more like dynamic and much more free, without needing like a kind of connector. But these interfaces, like the market data provider, are letting me do that in a simple way for now, until we do like more like an architectural improvement. I'm actually this is like a work in progress, but I am actually writing some of these for the more like nerds will like this, but I'm currently like writing parts of Hummingbot only for market data, rewriting it in Rust in a much more like fast and reliable way that we can process like millions of trades probably. So I'm currently working on that, more like a side thing during the nights, but is getting like really nice currently. So I hope that soon it can be ready. I will probably do a small demo if we have time of the system, but yeah, it looks really nice for now. So well, after we add the trading pair, all this stuff, we also validate the funding info, all that stuff. So this is add trading pair, and then what we do is we remove if the time elapses to remove the trading pairs, then we remove the trading pairs, and that's all. Then we have some methods to format the order book, build the lines, all these things, and the format status. But the real thing is that you don't really care about this. This can be like completely bytecoded by Claude or whatever. The important thing is to understand that now we have an add trading pair method and remove trading pair method, and the market data provider lets you initialize a new instance of the order book and stop the instance of the order book. So now it's trying to try it. We're going to open a terminal. So I will do the step by step. Well, let me show you the config, because as I mentioned, the difference between this and the scripts is that this has config. So if we go here to conf, scripts, conf dynamic order book demo, this is like the config, and this is what we have. The markets, the order book exchange, in this case is bitget perpetual, but let's put like, I don't know, let's put Binance perpetual, ETH USDT. Okay, perfect. So now we go to the terminal, cd document, and the quick start command lets me auto start this specific script with this specific config. So we're going to run this. I have a config in Miniconda, I don't know why, but I will run it from here. Okay, so now it's starting. If I put status live, you will see that this is happening, adding the trading pairs. So this is the order book that we can see. It's like the order book in real time, and after a certain time it will stop it. Now you remove it again. So this is like the process, very simple. We can run it again if you want to see it. Instead of status live, we can do status live and then run status, so you can see the two order books. If you run it in the terminal, it will look better, but see, 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, starting the order book. Now let's put status. So you can see that we have the two order books. The order book of Sol and the order book oops, and the other book of ETH, and this is the BPS per side and all that stuff. So basically, now it's stopped because the timeline will be after 10 seconds at Sol and at ETH, and then these two. So yeah, basically that's all. I would like to see like Conda deactivate. I don't know if it's like because my Conda entering kind of like conflict, then I will need to Conda. I want to activate this one. Let me see if now works. Okay, now works. But okay, now we can see it better because in the terminal like this, we can see probably the two of them at the same time. So he's tracking the order books, and now we have the two order books like right here. So well, this is basically to show you what you can now do with dynamic order books. What are some use cases of this? Like, just to give you an example, first of all, like if you are going to start trading on a new market that you don't have initialized and you need, for example, a grid executor, or you need something like that, this will let you like start trading immediately. So let's say that you have a process that is monitoring the volatility, and now you say, okay, this market has a lot of volatility, I want to start a new bot here. Now you can start in the strategy automatically. That's one of the things that you can do. But the real thing, or the truth of why I implemented this, is because I'm developing quite a lot the Hummingbot API. What I found is that a natural thing for the API is going to be, let me also like open a new call here, so oops. Let me open a call here. So my point is that the API for simple things like, for example, deploying a grid should be like enough. Like we should be able to deploy a grid or a market maker or whatever directly from the API without needing to create a Hummingbot instance, all that stuff. And also, like if someone wants to build a product on top of Hummingbot, that is something that with Mike, we think that you can build like almost a trading platform on top of Hummingbot API. It's something that you will probably want to do, like just deploy a simple grid from the API itself. So here I have the API running in localhost 8000 docs. So this API, as you know, we have Docker, gateway, accounts, connectors, portfolio, trading. You can execute direct trades. We have swaps. We have CLM to place like liquidity positions. You can orchestrate Hummingbot instances. This controller runtime, something new that lets you like run controllers. But I'm working on this feature. This is not part of the PR that is up there. We have to manage controllers, scripts, market data. Like here, we can get the candles. You can get funding info. You can get the order book. All this is via REST right now. Soon, with this change of the order book, will be also something that you can stream via WebSocket. A friend of mine that was using this told me that we should be able to get the order book via WebSocket, because the UI, if I want to update the UI with the order book, or I want to update the UI of the candles, like I will need to have via WebSocket the updates. So soon I will add also WebSocket for market data streaming. Rate Oracle, like also the sources, you can also get the rates and all that stuff. Backtesting, archive bots. This is like after you run a bot, you can analyze the performance, see all the traits of that bot. Like almost everything that you will need to do is here. And then the one missing part for me was the chance to just deploy executors that are these building blocks fully oriented to execution. When we were discussing with the team, like why we have executors, why we have yeah, Peter, the AMM already lets you, well, the AMM no, I only integrated CLLM, but I don't know if you check Condor, but Condor lets you see the liquidity on the different pools. Now I will show you in a second, but let me finish the executor stuff. I will come back to you in a second. So the thing about these executors is that they are like an automated unit of trading that has certain rules to place and cancel orders based on a config. Why you want to use them? Because you don't want to repeat the code over and over again of, okay, a grid places an order between this value and this value, the step is this, and you don't want to code that over and over again. It's like you can isolate that into Executor, that is what we have, and then you can invoke them and say, hey, create an executor with this config. Then you delegate the execution to another process, but there is a main like strategy process thinking, okay, how can I orchestrate these executors to accomplish this task? I want to provide liquidity and I will need to create these executors. So that's the main difference between a controller, that is the one that thinks, okay, I need to create an executor here, I need to create an executor there, and the executor that is just, okay, I have the instructions to place orders in this way. So, well, basically that's what is an executor, and let me show you like why they are cool from the API standpoint. Soon I will add this to the MCP, because it's something that we also need to have running from the MCP. But let me show you quickly like what you can actually build from here. So this is like, for example, right now Sol FDUSD, right? So I can tell like, can you get the base config of grid executor and create and give me one of let's say 200 total amount quote, limit start end 126, 127, 129, TP 0.0001, min step 0.001, max orders order frequency 1 second, max open orders 4, the rest and there is another one that is max orders per batch 1. Okay, so then the AI will know what can be configured. Then you can like ask to it and generate like a kind of template. So well, basically I'm saying this because I already know the parameters, but I think that the natural process will be knowing the grid strike parameters and then creating a config template that then the AI can understand and improve. I think that the order type might fail. Order type is an enum, right? Can you check if it's not with numbers? Well, I will say create the executor and let's test. Also increase the total amount to 400. Let's see if the AI is able to do this. But I think that it will. But well, once we have the MCP, with the MCP will be like even simpler for the executors because we already define all the rules in the MCP. So yeah, it's checking a few things. I could just say like I have to use admin. Okay. Okay, it's executors, so it's checking this, and now it's creating the executor. Let's see if it's failing. In the meanwhile, while it creates the executor, let me show you Peter. This is already available for CLLM. Like if you go here to gateway CLLM, if you go to pull info and you put a pull info, it will tell you like the information about the tokens. Yeah, I was trying to do it in Binance Perpetual and I don't have keys to Binance Perpetual, so that's why it was failing. Let me give this. Okay, now I created it. So see that now it's like running the executor in Binance directly on this pair of Sol FDUSD. So you see that now it's like placing the orders and starting the. I don't know what model I'm using in Cloud. I don't really know. But well, as you can see, it's starting and it's placing the orders. Now, this is like why I'm very bullish on this. Let's say that now we want to do something similar on BTC. I would say now let's create another one similar in BTC FDUSD with 400 total amount quotes and add activation bounds of 0.000. Like this, and limit start end in 89 500, let's say. Well, let's say 89 500 and 90 500, let's say. So this is like much more like, you see now it's trading already right now. Like if you compare this to the previous process that was, okay, if I want to create a grid, I need to create a grid config, then put that into a file, then select them and deploy. This is just like right straight up to trading like directly, like comparing one solution to the other one. Like this is like much more better. So well, like as you can see, this one for didn't have activation bounds. The activation bounds is like really good because as I am putting, you can only put this maximum number of orders until these orders are executed. It will never place them again. So if you put like max number of open orders, you need to put an activation bounds, because if not, these orders will never be refreshed. So let's say stop the executor in Sol and start it again, but with activation bounds of 0.0005. It should be like this, I think. And the one from I would say stop the one of BTC and start it again with min order amount quote 8. Maybe it's a thing related to the min order amount. But see that the one from Solana started again. Yeah, that's why I wanted to create. I told Mike I want to create like a very like simple CLI for this, because like creating grids like in this way and maybe assisted by an AI agent that can help you create them might be like a good use case for a CLI. But well, see that now we are trading on BTC and Sol in a few steps, like, and just saying AI, hey, trade here. Like, I think that this will like really be a great change. And the ability to deploy executors directly is probably one of the most like valuable things that we probably have. Right now I'm working on making the deploy of the controllers also available with the same style. So soon we will see if we can also like deploy the controllers and run pure market making strategy like in the same way. So we'll see. For now, it seems like it's working like quite nice for being running the same API as we are like running the rest of the things. And well, now we can ask like what's the performance of the grids. Let's see what it's saying. Do you like it, guys? It was something that you think that it will be. Yeah, the new way of deploying executors, like I will do this explanation very easily. The executors are like some objects that uses the Hummingbot connectors to get the order book, and based on the order book and the config, take decisions. Like for example, the position executor, based on the config, creates a position, and then using the order book computes the PNL, and based on the PNL, it can close it via take profit, via trading stop, or via stop loss. So or time limit. So the position executor is like it has automated the exit position through take profit, stop loss, time limit, or trading stop. That's what an executor is. It's like based on certain config, a number of actions will be performed in the market. In this case, what we are seeing right now is a grid executor. The grid executor basically has certain parameters that prevents you from exposing the whole capital of the grid at the same time, has a different take profit by step, has an order frequency to place orders, so you don't place all the orders at once. It has like a lot of mechanics that you can define in the config, but once you define those mechanics, the executor will be created, and this logic will flow until you stop it or until certain condition of the executor is met. Like for example, hits the limit price. So these executors normally in Hummingbot are created by the controllers. So a controller might say, okay, we are touching the upper bound of the Bollinger Band, okay? So as we are in the upper bound of the Bollinger Band, I would like to create a short grid to trade a reversal. So what the controller does is saying, okay, I have this market data, I have this signal from this market data, I want to create an execution algorithm to trade that signal. So the type of execution algorithms that we have are DCA, grids, position executor, order executor, cross-exchange market making executor. Like you have different ways of execute that signal. And the controller sends the action of saying, I want to create this executor, and the executor will be created. Okay? The API instead of needing a Hummingbot instance running, has this executors router that you can list the executors that you can list the executors that are available. You see here is the config that it has, the leverage, the P&L of the executor, if it's trading or not, the levels if are active or not. Like we have this part of the executors that are running, but all the executors are run in the API, and you can trigger them through via REST, right? So basically, now this executors part works like if it's Hummingbot able to deploy executors, but from an API. That's like the main difference. It's like the same, but with a different way to trigger it. So well, it seems like it reaches the 129, and this stop placing orders. The one from BTC is still trading. That's it. So see that we are trading also very hard, this one. Can you tell me the volume traded and P&L of the 2 weeks now? So well, the one of Sol, if it's working correctly, it should be stopped by by take profit. Can you tell me the close types? So well, we were exposing like $400 to each grid. We made like 16 cents, and we traded like 2.4k. So it's like 3 times the total amount quote in not that much time. Like it was how much time was? Let's see. In 7 minutes. In 7 minutes we tripled the total amount quote that we were exposing in that range. So quite nice. Like so well, that's all about this. I also want to showcase very quickly the new thing that I'm building, just to give you some FOMO. This is like the terminal that I'm building. So as you can see here in trades, I can search for BTC USDT, and then I can subscribe to this order book. Oh. It's not. What is? RQ. Okay. Now the 2 of them are working. So like this, I can subscribe dynamically to different sources. Like I also subscribe to FDUSD. And then in graphs, I can say, okay, I want to see BTC USDT. I want to see BTC USDT for a spot. And I also want to see BTC FDUSD. And now we are like making all the sources like independent. So well, I'm working on this like during the nights, and it's like very, very nice. I really like it, and the whole design, the backend design, is quite good. I think that will make a huge difference. But well, like, and also I think that there is like good like prediction capabilities from the trades. Like I think that can be extracted some insights for trading more smart on this. Like I have been seeing like waves of trades coming to one place. Well, that's all for me. We covered a lot. Like we covered the basic usage of the system. Well, that's all. Thank you very much. See you next time. Please let us on Discord what you want to see next.